back again. And this is Call for Sleep. First responders and everybody else. Mental Health Podcast. We're on the air again. And this is a proud father, proud veteran, proud entrepreneur, petty officer that is your host today. Brought to you by Steve Knox Studios. We got a great show for you today. I want you to come on in and get this knowledge. Coming to you from a right your ear hole today. We want you to get awareness and information about challenges and what is associated with addiction recovery, soon to be in recovery, staying in recovery. We are here to give you some tips and make you aware of some things you did not know. Calm for Sleep, the mental health podcast with Penny Officer. Come on into the show. This conversation is honest, truthful, and we keeps it real, people. And now I want to be the first to thank any and all viewers of the Calm for Sleep podcast and let them know, Mama, you know that man, Auntie, that man is on, and let them know you don't need those video phones in this hour. This is Calm for Sleep. Coming at you, people. You better and tell them, Mama, here go that man. Daddy, that man is talking again. Come on in. And we got a great show for you today. We're going to conversate on some really important stuff involving mental health and the challenges that are associated with it. Now, I do not claim to be nobody's doctor, no licensed therapist, but I do have my degree in substance abuse, health and addiction study and social work. So you can say, I know what I'm talking about. I'm closing in, and y'all hunted down till the minute. And today, we're going to discuss saying yes. You really want to say no. Police, and let it know. Calm Sleep is on. Y'all better be quiet. Now, we're going to have another today. I'm going to break it down to you so that we're all on the same page, because so many of us are dealing with, have been dealing with, and soon to deal with mental health challenges. And let's get on with the show. Now, a lot of people really don't understand mental health awareness or dealing with mental health. But we here in this podcast, we do. We understand it, we recognize it, and we're here to give you some information, some value tips, and a whole heck of a lot of awareness right here on Calm for Sleep with your host, Petty Officer. Now, what I was just saying about this topic, why we keep saying yes when we really want to say no? Why is it so difficult to say no? Many of us, we say yes even when we're exhausted, overwhelmed, or simply don't want to do something. We're sorry about disappointing people, creating conflict, or being seen as selfish. So we're going to explore the mental health side of people pleasing and the hidden cost of constantly putting everyone else's needs before your own. We're going to talk about guilt, fear of rejection, approval seeking, emotional exhaustion, resentment, and the learning to recognize when yes is costing us our peace. Now, this is typically going to fall between a lot of matters where you don't want to disappoint family, friends, coworkers, you know. And what about when you're out partying, drinking, but just to not be seen as no party pooper or you're square, you say yes when you know you don't want to say yes. That's what we're talking about. Now, this also affects your mental health when you're people pleasing, when you don't need to, and it's causing you a lot of problems. The fear of what could happen if you disappoint someone or you say no. Having a lot of people, especially ones in recovery, haven't they said yes so many times and never know? And that's how they got into recovery or about to get in recovery. Hmm? Always said yes instead of no, right? Now, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining the podcast today. This is Calm for Sleep. All of the viewers, new, old, soon to be, gonna be, welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, tonight we're going to talk about something everybody has experienced, don't we? You get asked to do something. Maybe you don't have the time. Maybe you're already tired. Maybe you don't even want to do it. And yet you hear yourself saying yes or sure, okay, right? I'll take care of it. No problem. Even though inside you're thinking, right? I really don't want to do this. Have you ever done that? I don't really want to do this, man. I'm tired of this game. Have you ever done that with yourself or seen somebody that's always doing that or been around someone that's always doing that? All right. Have you ever said yes when everything inside of you is saying no? Wouldn't that also fall on a lot of times, especially when you're in recovery? You got to put that word no painted on your forehead. No, I don't want to do this anymore. No, I don't want a drink. No, I don't want to hit. No, I don't want nothing. Right? But what happens when you wind up people pleasing and you fall into what they call relapse because you said yes instead of no? Right? Because sometimes saying yes isn't really about being helpful. Sometimes it's about fear, fear of disappointing people or that person, fear of conflict, right? Or somebody trying to shame you, clown you, you know, talk about you. Oh man, they don't never want to do anything. They always saying no, right? You don't live for them. Fear that somebody will be angry with you. Isn't that a lot about bullying? When people are bullying you into keep saying yes when you want to say no, right? And sometimes we're so used to putting everybody else first that we don't even realize we're doing anymore or we're doing it anymore, right? Now, when yes becomes automatic, now some of us, we have a tendency to have a automatic yes button, right? Because a lot of people are into people please. Friends, relatives, co-workers, always automatically saying yes when you know they don't want to do it, right? For some people, saying yes becomes that automatic. Someone asks you for a favor. Isn't that always somebody's always asking you for a favor? And you say yes. Someone needs your help. You say yes. Someone needs your time. You say yes. Someone needs your money. You say yes. Someone needs you to solve a problem. You say yes. And eventually you become the person everyone knows they can count on. Hmm. Is that you? Are you that person? That sounds like a compliment, right? Doesn't it? And it can be. But there's another side to being the person everybody depends on. Sometimes people become so accustomed to your yes that they don't know what to do when you finally say no. They won't know what to do. Isn't that a lot that happens when you were out there on the drinking, using substances, and you have your, your partner and friends or something? They always said yes until they realized you really had a very serious problem. But they was all like, because you gave it back to them. But you was all, oh, here, here, here. Or they just get you out their face, you know? These things stop. They still happen now. Some of y'all, it still happens in your life. And you may feel guilty when even thinking about saying it. No. That's what we need to stop and ask. Am I helping because I genuinely want to? Or am I helping because I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't? Isn't that a lot of cases, even in some marriages, right? Relationships? Doesn't that happen a lot? Mhm. Right? But there is a big difference. Fear of disappointing people. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with saying no is the fear of disappointing others. Now, a lot of people do that in relationships on an occasional basis, almost all the time, of the fear of disappointing that person, or making them sad, or I don't know how they're going to take it if I just finally say no, right? Some people do struggle with this. I'm being perfectly honest with you. We don't want nobody thinking that we're selfish. Well, I guess they ain't me. Think what you want to think. I'm as selfish as they can get, and I like it. But some people just have that fear of somebody just thinking that they are. Self pity. But we don't want to be thinking we're changed. We don't want them to say, you never say no. You never say no before. I mean, like, what's the problem? Yeah, right. Ain't that a trip? If somebody happens to say that to you, do you think you would feel? How you think you would feel if somebody told you that? Or what happened to you? So we say yes. But here's something important about that. Someone being disappointed doesn't automatically mean you've done something wrong because are allowed to be disappointed. Did you hear me? People are allowed to be disappointed. You cannot control everyone's reaction to your boundaries. You can't. If I said no, I mean no. Doesn't it sound like with some people with parents and your kids keep asking you over and over again and keep saying yes, 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 and when you finally say no, they think something's wrong with you? Isn't that weird? Or anything somebody asks you for and you've always given it to them, and then you finally say no and they think something's wrong with you. What's going on? Why you? Oh, you can't do it this one more time. Haven't you heard that before? But where does people pleasing come from? Where does that come from? People pleasing can develop for many different reasons. Sometimes you learn early in life that keeping other people happy keeps things peaceful. Isn't that like when you're growing up with people? Some of the kids that chubby kids, fat kids, they call, and they want to hang around the cool kid, or like the chicks, they want to hang around the cool chick, and everything they ask them for, they always say yes. Remember that? Okay. Maybe conflict, because for some people, conflict may be uncomfortable. They can't deal with being uncomfortable. It's the same thing that happens when your mental health challenges. Feeling uncomfortable. Maybe you learn to take care of other people's emotions. Now, why you would want to do that, I have no idea. But it happens. It does happen. Maybe you were praised for being helpful. They're the one. You can count on them. And some people take that to heart. Some people love being a people pleaser. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but it will affect you. Maybe you were taught that putting yourself first was selfish. I wonder what family what they were in. It wasn't my family. I always learned take care of number one. That's not selfish. That's just taking care of number one. And number one is me. Maybe you became the responsible one. Yeah, a lot of us, a lot of siblings become the responsible one, responsible for our younger siblings underneath us. And we help them out all along the way, keep giving them this, and never saying no, which is nothing wrong with that. The person you handle you're the person that handles everything. And a lot of times, that's something that happens in a lot of families because, especially celebrities, athletes, successful businessmen, they take care of everybody in the family. Always yes, 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 yes. You know what I mean? But it happens. But over time, you may start meaning your value by how useful you are to other people. Now, this isn't everyone, but there are some people out there that do think this way. They do.
My name is Adam.
Honestly, I will be perfectly honest with you. I would not lie to you.
Joining us at our next investor webinar.
So, when you only become useful to those people, it's dangerous. Because your value isn't determined on how much you can do for somebody else. Your value, you are valued even when you're rested. You are valued even when you say no. You are still valued. You are valued even when you can't fix somebody else's problems. Because I know I have a lot of people out there that tend to take it upon themselves to want to fix somebody's problems for them because they don't think they're capable of doing it or completing it. But you still have to allow them to do it. Don't do it for them or be so much ahead of them that you're actually doing it and they're not doing anything. You see my point? I'm going to talk about the hidden cost of constantly saying yes. Every yes costs somebody. Do you know what I mean? Every yes costs somebody. Every hidden cost of constantly saying yes. Sometimes it costs time, sometimes it costs money, sometimes it costs energy, sometimes it costs you sleep, sometimes it costs your peace of mind, your well-being, right? And sometimes it costs you relationships with yourself. Because a lot of people don't understand you do have a relationship with yourself. I know a lot of us, we ain't on that wavelength, man. What is he talking about? But honestly, you do. Just think about it. When you constantly say yes to everyone else, where does the no go? Where does that go? Where does your exhaustion go? Where does your frustration go? Where does your anger go? And last and not least, it has to go somewhere. And sometimes it turns into resentment. And you start thinking, nobody appreciates what I do. Nobody helps me, right? Isn't that generally where it's going to go? Everybody always needs something. I say that constantly. It's always somebody needs something. But the truth is, sometimes we have trained people to expect too much from us because we rarely communicate our limits. Rarely. So they would think you are limitless. Do you see where I'm going with this? That's not about blaming yourself. It's about recognizing the pattern that people have towards you. What about when helping turns into resentment? You can love somebody and still need boundaries. You can care about someone and still say no. You can want the best for someone without solving every problem for them. Some people do that. That's what I'm saying. Some people will solve problems for others. And sometimes we say yes and then become angry because we didn't really want to say yes. You knew we wanted to say no, but you said yes anyway. And then you got angry at yourself. Does that make sense? How are you going to get angry at yourself because you said yes? Isn't it crazy? But it happens. It happens. But instead of admitting that we blame the other person. That's who we're going to blame, the other person. What are you going to blame yourself for? That ain't going to happen. You know? That's when resentment starts growing. A healthier approach is honesty. If you don't have the capacity to help, say so. If you can't, you can't. If you don't need a long explanation, you don't need a long explanation why you can't. You don't. No means no. I can't do it. You can simply say, I can't do that right now. I want to do it. You can say whatever you like. Or you can say that's enough. Enough is enough. Come on now. Come on. You know, you're always coming to me for something. You know, this is just enough is enough. Because if you don't say no, it's a continuous cycle over and over and over and over again. Are you not responsible for everyone's happiness? You're not. You're not responsible for everybody's happiness. I'm not here to please a lot of people. This is an important, very important lesson for you. You are not responsible for keeping everybody happy. I don't. I love saying no. You're disappointed? Oh well. It's not going to affect me mentally. You're the one disappointed. You know? And you can be kind. You can be supportive. You can listen. You can help. But you cannot manage everyone's emotions. You can't manage not even one. Someone may be upset because you said no. Oh well, you know. Someone may not understand your decision. Is it meant for them to understand your decision? I wonder, how is that meant for you to understand my decision? Sometimes protecting your mental health means allowing somebody else to experience disappointment, protecting your own mental health. Allowing someone else let them experience that disappointment. Can't do it. And learning to recognize the real answer here. Sorry. Before saying yes, pause for it. And then try to ask yourself, you know, in that moment, do I actually really want to do this? Do I have the time? Do I have the energy? Am I saying yes because I feel guilty? Am I afraid they'll stop liking me? Doesn't that happen a lot? Now they won't communicate with you, they won't text you no more, they won't call you no more because you didn't say yes. If you notice that you're saying yes because of fear, take a moment. You don't have to answer immediately. Take a moment. And why don't you just try saying, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. Let me check. Let me check my skill. Let me check to see if I'm able to do this. You know, that little small pause gives you space and makes a decision instead of automatically giving an answer. You know? Now, tonight, I want you to remember something. Being a good person doesn't mean being able, being available to everyone all the time. Being helpful doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. Being kind doesn't mean having no boundaries. And saying no doesn't make you selfish. Just me. Just makes me selfish. That's the fact, Jack. Because I am. And I like it. And it doesn't bother me a bit. Sometimes saying no is how you protect the yes that really matters. So don't just say it just to be saying it, because you got to continuously say it. Sometimes saying no is how you protect the yes. Your family, your health, your peace, your goals, your recovery, your future. So before you automatically say yes this week, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. And then ask yourself what do you really want? And give yourself permission to answer honestly. Because if you honestly don't want to say yes, then say no. It's like people are fighting. Some people in recovery have to fight the temptation trigger all day long, every day. But I'm not saying it's the same thing as yes, you know. But you're protecting yourself. And that's what you need to do. Now, tonight I want you to remember, you don't have to earn love, because constantly making yourself available is not a good thing. Value yourself, and have people value and respect you, and not to just say yes because they expected that answer from you all the time. Now let's talk about learning to say no without feeling guilty. I don't feel guilty if I say no. No is no. No, I ain't got it. Learning to say no without feeling guilty. Saying no can feel uncomfortable, especially when you've spent years taking care of everyone else. We're going to continue our conversation about people pleasing and explore how to establish healthier boundaries without feeling selfish or guilty. We're going to discuss practical ways to say no, how to handle pushback from others, and why protecting your mental health doesn't mean you don't care about the people around you. You're learning to say no isn't about becoming cold, it's about learning to respect your own limits. You have limits, and your limits, you don't want nobody to think that you're unlimited. You always expect them to get it from them. No, you can't. Because you're only valuing me for what I can give to you. But then we go through a lot of that when we were in when we're out there on substances, alcohol. They don't value somebody for what they can give me so I can go do what I wanted to do. Right? That's what happens. Now we're going to talk about why we keep saying yes when we really want to say no. Tonight we're going to talk about taking that next step because that next step is very, very important. We're going to talk about something that can be incredibly difficult. How do you actually say no? How do you actually say no? Not angrily, not disrespectfully, like something like me. No, hell no. That would be me. Not selfishly, just honestly. That's for some of the people out there that have a hard time saying no. Because sometimes the hardest words to say is one of the smallest words in the English language. And that's no. I do not have a problem saying no. Some people do though. Just say it. I'm not saying everybody does, but some people do. If you're used to people pleasing, saying no can feel almost physically uncomfortable. I didn't even know that. That some it can be almost physically uncomfortable because you finally said no. That's weird. But it happens. I'm serious. It happens. Your mind starts racing. What are they going to think? Are they going to be mad? Will they stop talking to me? Will they think I'm selfish? What if they really need me? So you say yes, right? Then you spend the next several hours or days wishing you had. Because what if something happened to that person because you said yes? You could have said no and cut it off at the pass. These things happen and it causes a rift in your mental health. And in some cases, you start grieving that yes, when you should know, you should have said no. You see where I'm going with this at now? See, that's this cycle you want to break that cycle. Because healthy boundaries aren't about rejecting people. They're about being honest about what you can and cannot do. Do you understand me? It's what you can and cannot do. Some people do things when they know they can, but they do. They do them anyway. They be people pleasers. If you've seen it, a lot of that happens a lot nowadays. Especially with the younger generation. An exploitation of this, that, and the next thing. You know what I mean? One of the biggest mistakes we make with saying no is over explaining it. And you don't need a long explanation because some people expect you to explain it. Why are you saying no? You always tell me yes. I can tell you no anytime I want. But see, that's what they expect. That yes from you all the time. We think we have to prove that our no is legitimate. As you notice how some people question you when you tell them no for something. What? I don't have to give you an explanation because I said no. But some people do expect that. So some of us, we create long stories, long explanations when we say no. This instead of turning around and walking away. I would. I'm not going to. I'm not going to allow somebody uh, to hold me hostage because of what I
don't know what
told them.
next?
No,
Visit
you're not.
help.com for free.
And you know that happened a lot before we got into recovery and got off alcohol and substances. Nobody could tell us no, right? Bed not, right? But I'm sorry, I can't because. And then they give me a lot of reasons, their explanation. And then we give them 10 different reasons why they should say yes. Isn't that the truth? But you don't always need to explain yourself. You don't. Why don't you try this? I can't do this. I'm not available to do that. That doesn't work for me. Sorry. What about I won't be able to help you for good now. Believe on me. I said a lot. Just be simple, respectful, and be clear. And be straightforward. You don't have to build a courtroom case to justify your boundaries. It's your limit. When you reach your limit, you reach your limit. That's it. I'm not helping it. And isn't that how some people finally and actually realize that they may have some kind of addiction problem, but everybody just keeps turning them away? Right? And nobody wants to help unless you better get some help. Don't come to ask me for nothing, no more. Isn't that when they try? Isn't that what leads a lot of people into addiction? But there's no longer anyone willing to help with their usage. Isn't that right? Isn't that a fact? What about giving yourself time? If you're uncomfortable saying no, immediately don't force yourself to. Buy yourself some time. And you know how a lot of us do. We'll come up with all kinds of shit. We can say, yeah, I'll do that. I need to check something first. Can I think about it? Don't we use that a lot? I'll let you know more. This is powerful and it breaks the automatic yes that people are always so used to always wanting to hear, right?
Okay, I gotta lay low. See that brand new Hyundai Tucson? I only paid.
Now you have the time to
Feels so
think.
right. It almost feels
You have the time to justify why you're not doing it, and you do not have to tell no one what your reason as to why no means no. You know? And during that time, you can ask yourself, do I want to? Hell no. Can I afford it? Don't do something you can't afford to do when you know they lie to you all the time. Do I have the energy to even deal with this person? Is this actually my responsibility?
All you can do is ask
And what happens if I say no?
over. Why?
Will I care? Do I care?
What happened to the love that brought us
And what
closer?
happens if I say yes?
Hey,
Are
I
they
know
going
things change,
to run back over me again?
but this hurts.
And sometimes the answer can become very, very
I guess
clear.
it all boils down to the
If
fact
it's
that
all of
we
those
need each
yeses,
other anyway.
they already know that you're never going to say no.
Wait a minute. Let me tell
When you
exactly
should,
how I feel, okay?
and you will eventually. What about dealing with the pushback with some people? Not everyone was going to like your boundaries and your limits. They're not going to like it, right? But that's okay. That's fine. You know, some people may say, "Man, come on, it's not this serious, right? Really? You know, you always used to help me." Didn't we hear that a lot as we were formulating our addiction? Didn't we hear that a lot? I thought I could count on you, man. So don't let guilt automatically change your decision because you're feeling guilty that you're not saying yes to that person. There's plenty of responses that you can have. I understand, but I still can't. I won't. Leave me alone. No. No means no. Ain't that what they always say? And that's it. Bye. Bye, Felicia. You don't have to argue with them because people will argue. Boy, they'll argue you down, won't they? And you don't have to become angry with them because you don't want to do something. Please. And you don't have to defend yourself with 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour with somebody constantly begging you. And just repeat to them your boundaries and your limits. That's it. That's it. No, that's it. I ain't going to do this with you no more. And what about saying no to family? Family can make boundaries especially difficult, don't they? Trust on me, I do know. There may be history, expectations, traditions, old roles. Maybe you've been the person who handles everything. But family doesn't automatically mean unlimited access to your time, money, energy, and emotional resources, even though that's exactly what they expect. Isn't that right? You can love your family and still say, I can't do that. I need some time for myself, and I need my money. I can't take that responsibility on right now because people always expect you to take on their responsibility. Family members do it constantly. I'm not saying there's nothing absolutely wrong with it, but on a consistent basis, then something's wrong there. And then you can just tell, I'll help when I can or when I'm able. I can't help right now. And a healthy relationship can, can survive healthy boundaries if it's healthy. If it's not, you're going to get all kind of results. It's just what happens. I mean, especially if you dealing with mental health challenges. Can you just imagine what's going on in your mind? You know? What about saying, what about at work? Saying no at work. Work can create another challenge because you always got somebody always wanting you to do extra work when it's not like you get an extra pay, right? You want to be dependable. You want to be a good employee. You may want opportunities that if you do it continuously, you'll get more opportunities. You notice you don't. But constantly taking on more than you can handle can eventually affect your mental health and your performance. Sometimes a professional boundary sounds like I can take that on, but something else will need to more will need to move. Something else will need to move. Oh, I don't have the capacity to complete that by that deadline. That's some people that's office talk, you know, or people in all kind of positions that they're always asking more of you than they would of themselves, right? Don't they do that a lot? And it's not refusing to work because you know a lot of people is going to be safe. That's a big reason you're going to see a lot of people say no with extra work. You just communicating realistically. That's all you're doing. And do some people feel guilt after saying yes, after saying no? They don't feel it. Does anyone feel guilty? Well, here's something that is important. You may say no and still feel guilty. That doesn't necessarily mean you made the wrong decision. Sometimes guilt is simply feeling that it's the feeling that comes with doing something unfamiliar. If you've spent years putting everyone else first, choosing yourself may be choosing yourself may feel uncomfortable. If they still have people out there in the world like this, Lord, heaven forbid, just give it time. You don't have to obey every feeling. And you can't feel guilty and still maintain your boundaries. It's not going to happen. You can't do both. Eventually, your brain can learn I'm allowed to have limits. Your brain is telling you you're allowed to have limits. Your brain, right? And you need to protect your own peace. Your mental health needs space. Oh, shit. No, that's stuff. I don't know how that happened. Intentional. And, oh, shit. Space to rest, space to think, space to recover, space to spend time with people you love, space to pursue your goals. And if every available moment belongs to somebody else, eventually there's nothing left for you. Protect your peace. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It is responsible. Because when you're completely exhausted, you have less to give everybody, including yourself. You do. You do. Because your boundaries don't need everyone's. Oh, shucks. Hold on a second. Damn camera. Your, bound, your boundaries don't need everybody else's approval to be. What? But what I'm saying is some people do feel this way. And one of the biggest lessons in this, you You don't need everyone to agree with your boundaries, which they're not anyway. But your boundaries is about what you will do, not controlling what somebody else does. You can't force somebody to understand because they won't. You can't force somebody to agree with you because they never will, especially if you say no. You can only communicate clearly and choose how you respond. That's all you can do. And sometimes peace comes with realizing they don't have to understand me. They gotta understand me. I ain't begging you to understand me, you know? But before we bring this episode to a close, before I close tonight, think about one place in your life where you've been saying yes when you really mean no. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's work, maybe it's family, maybe it's a commitment, or maybe it's something you keep doing because you're afraid of disappointing someone. Now imagine saying, I care about you, but I can't do that. Or I understand, but I need to say no. Notice how that's going to feel. You may feel uncomfortable, some people may not, but that's okay. You are learning. Boundaries are a skill. You don't become comfortable with them overnight. Practice them. Start small. Say no to something that doesn't truly matter. Then build from there. Okay? And I want to leave you with this. You don't have to be available to everybody. You don't have to solve everybody's problems. You don't have to sacrifice your mental health to prove that you care. And you can be kind and have boundaries. You can be loving and say no. You can be generous and still protect your time. And you can care about something caring, without carrying their entire life on your shoulders. What you gonna carry their entire life on your shoulders for? It's not gonna make any sense. But this is just word to the wise. I know everybody does not feel or do this, but for the people that do, you know, this episode was for you. If it's not, share it with somebody that is a people pleasing person, and maybe they can listen to this episode and maybe it might formulate an idea in their mind that might make sense. Do you understand? Now, I'm going to bring this episode to a conclusion, but before I go, I'm going to do a moment of silence for the fallen, past, and present. So let's give them a moment. And before we go, we're going to do the calm for sleep, the evening reset. And we do it every evening before we end the show. So let's get into it. In this calm for sleep, the evening reset is brought to you by Still Light Studios. So let's take a slow breath in and let it go. You've made it home. The day is behind you now. The pressure, the noise, the constant alertness can begin to fade. There is nothing you need to fix right now, nothing you need to solve. So just Breathe. Feel the surface underneath you supporting your weight. Let your shoulders drop slightly. Let your jaw loosen and let your hands rest. You do not need to stay on guard here. You are whole. Notice your breathing, not forcing it, just observing it. Each breath out sends a signal to your body that this moment is safe. If thoughts of the day appear, let them pass like waves moving toward the shore and then moving away again. Tonight is not about strength. Tonight is about recovery. If your mind tries to stay alert, gently remind yourself, I am here, I am safe, I can rest. Nothing is expected of you tonight. No mission, no deadlines, no performances, only rest. If sleep comes, allow it. If it takes time, that's okay because you made it through today and tonight. You are allowed to rest. And with that, I'm going to bring this episode of Calm for Sleep to a conclusion. And that was the evening reset. And with that, I will bid you good evening. Please stay safe, get some rest, and slow down mentally. And I will see you in the next episode. And this was Calm for Sleep of veterans, first responders, and everybody else. Mental Health Podcast with your host, proud veteran, proud father, and proud entrepreneur, Petty Officer Upshur. And with that, I will bid you a good night. And I salute you. Peace.